Hi, everyone. Welcome to another live on Blair's Digital. Now, today we are so excited. We have a very special guest, a true powerhouse, right? A trailblazer who has been making waves in the online space for over 3 years. Now, she's from humble beginnings, all
Mhm.
right, but she has built a trusted brand for herself, all right, and her journey is one driven by impact, heart, and consistency. A warm welcome to you, Petagay. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute pleasure to be on this side of here. It is, it's one of those things that I don't do as often, but I actually enjoy doing it.
Awesome, and we are humbled to have you on. Now, we as well as our viewing audience, I know that they're curious to, hear what sparked the beginning of your journey in the online space,
Mhm.
and whatever your why was, how has that evolved over this period of time?
Mm, that is like a two-in-one question, but I'm gonna do my best. So my why for starting originally sparked from, I'm from Jamaica, okay? Brownstone, Jamaica. So I'm a country girl. Okay. I'm proud country girl at that. And we have a saying that when trouble take you, pitney shot fit
Should
you.
fit you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So um work I'm a single mom of three. Okay. So I started my business back in 2021. Okay. A little, yeah, probably almost towards the end of 2021. Okay. And um my I started out of fear. Okay. I was scared. I was in a really bad place. My employers at the time gave me an ultimatum. Okay. And they basically told me that if you don't comply to these new rules that we have implemented, you will no longer have a job, pretty
Wow.
much. So imagine being a single mom of three, you only have one income and you're working so hard just to stay afloat. You're literally living from paycheck to paycheck, right? Before the pay even lands in your account, it is already spent.
Done.
That was my reality. So to go from that to here, yeah, by the way, if you don't comply, you will no longer have a job.
Wow.
That brought me back to where I was before because when you're going through life and you think you have this security rug, as that's what I refer to it as. Okay, so I was married and then I got, we got separated and I was left with the kids. Okay, so three kids, and then I ended up homeless. Okay, so that level of security that I thought I had was basically ripped from beneath me. So now fast forward, after you've done everything that you're supposed to do, you go back to school. They say go back to school, get qualified here in Canada so that you're able to venture into the job market and you do all the things that you're supposed to do. They tell you work multiple jobs and you do that, right? And then only for them to say, well, by the way, you don't comply, okay? You will no longer get the chicken feed that you're getting.
Wow.
So that was a wake up call for me. And so immediately after hearing that, I made one phone call, and within 7 days my business was up and running.
Wow.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, I had learned about this business a year prior to me starting. But one of the things that held me back was I was so afraid. I lacked confidence. Um, I I had all these negative self-talk, right? And I never wanted to be on the forefront. I was like, I don't have that education. I'm from a healthcare background. I don't know nothing about marketing. I cannot put myself out there. But like I said, when trouble take you, pitney shot fit you, and here I am three and a half years later.
Wow. And there are so many persons out there too, who are hearing about this, who have been hearing about this, and yet they are still waiting. But I recall hearing a quote or a saying, it says, until the pain of staying the same
Mm-hmm.
becomes greater or unbearable than the pain of change,
Mm-hmm.
then you won't really take action.
That's true.
Not sure what it would take for others, but I'm sure you are very, very happy that you have started or had started, right? And I am here celebrating too, though I'm not, near your journey
Absolutely.
yet. But
Absolutely. And because you know what, honestly, starting this business has really put me on a different path, that one that I never really expected. I could have never imagined living here in Canada, because you're used to, like, we went to school, we're programmed to think one way, right? However, um starting this business has opened my eyes to a whole new world that I never knew existed. And I recognize that there's literally no limits on me. There's literally no limits. The only limits I have is the ones that I place on myself. And right now, I'm not placing no limit for myself.
wow,
None.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm sure that the reason why you had started has evolved over time too, right? Just based on how things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in your view,
Mm-hmm.
what sets this business apart from all the other online opportunities that are out there?
Mm. Okay, so from personal experience, I can talk on this. So full transparency, this was not my first online venture. Okay. So as a Jamaican, when we talk about starting a business, you either think say you're going to either sell something, you're gonna buy some clothes and sell it, resell it, right?
Mhm.
Or you're going to open a restaurant, and you're gonna cook some food, you're going to sell some food. Okay. During the lockdown, I did both. Okay. So you remember I mentioned that I knew about the business a year prior, and I didn't
Right.
want to venture into it. I was basically hiding. So I decided that, you know what, P, you're going to do this thing called, you're going to start a store, right? And I went on YouTube and I did all the research, and I thought I knew everything. And let me tell you, it was one expensive lesson, because here I am. I launched online store. I use my tax refund. Okay, when you do your taxes, you get a little bit of money, and then yeah. And I had this dream of, oh, I'm gonna have a vacation boutique. I named it Vacay Boutique. And here's the thing: it was such a bad idea, because nobody could go anywhere. Okay, we couldn't travel anywhere.
Yeah.
But they say, knowledge is power, and I had none at that time, right? So I was working with the little that I had, and I had no support. And so I started that. That did not work out. It didn't go as according to plan. And then I started frying fish and selling fish, right? Escovitch fish. Yes. Made a couple sales, but not enough to make a difference in my life or my kids' life. However, what sets this business apart is the fact that the the automation that it comes with. There's a level of automation to our business. So if you're looking for that time freedom, this is it. The next thing that sets us apart is you get coaching and mentorship. Now, had I had someone to hold my hand throughout the period of me venturing into the online space, trying to start an online boutique, because there are other people that have online stores and they're very successful.
Yeah.
However, I did not have that, right? I did not have somebody to call on when I hit roadblocks to say, okay, what am I supposed to do? Yes, you can find information, but it tidbits of here and there, and not
Yeah.
everything is as clear. So one of the key things is, in our business, you're not alone. You are never alone. There's always someone there that you can reach out to, that will be there to assist you, right? And not only that, there's nowhere else that well, if there is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't come across another business where I'm able to literally take it and pass it on to my kids, right?
Mm.
It's unheard of. So one of the things that drew me to this business was the fact that you get coaching and mentorship, the training video base, right? super easy to follow. All you have to do is just be willing to learn, right? And then you really don't need any prior experience where marketing is concerned, because that is something that we're going to teach you,
Teach you.
right? So it doesn't matter what walks of life you're coming from. If you are coming from a teaching background or healthcare background, or you're a lawyer or a judge, it does not matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're packing boxes in Amazon somewhere. It doesn't matter, as long as you're willing to learn a new skill, right? You're willing to do the work. That's all you actually need. So I would say, hands down, there's no other business out there with the level of support that we have. It's
Indeed.
not.
Yeah, and to top it off, guys, this is a legitimate business that you have to be registered with the tax authorities in your country.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yes, you have to. And, there are many other benefits as well. But if you desire more, visit us. All right. www.blairsdigital.com with your name, your email address. And all we're going to do is to send you the information surrounding this business opportunity. All right.
Totally. And you know what? To speak on that, I just filed my taxes. Okay, don't tell anybody. So I just filed.
Or secret.
So I'm one of those late ones this year. And honestly, it's such a pleasure to be able to say to Canada Revenue Agency, like, yeah, these are my expenses. And yes, I went on vacation, but this is a tax write-off for me. So having a business where you can, which is legitimate, you can write off these things, are a major plus. Right? Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. All right. Thanks for that. Now, with all that you have been able to achieve and accomplish, right, so far,
Mm-hmm.
how do you personally measure success, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just beyond, the followers and the income, right? Would
Mm-hmm.
you, you know,
How do,
highlight some of your proudest moments while you share that?
that is a good question. And, someone asked me that question, a similar question. And I said this before, that how I measure success is by impact and freedom, right? I value my freedom so much, you know, and it's not just having an income for me. It's basically, well, what I should say is, one of my proudest moments is when I see lady people that I've mentored, women that I've mentored, and I see them hitting their goals, and I see the confidence, because I sit on coaching calls, like I have coaching calls, and I'm sitting with women, and they look at me and they're like, Peta, I don't know if I can do this. I'm scared. I've never done anything like this before. And then to see them being so shy and timid, to just perk up one day and shoulders well back, and to see them gain such confidence, I sometimes get emotional, especially like when I see mentees of mine and they hit certain milestones, and I always get choked up, because I was like, oh my God, you trust little old me. I'm just a simple girl from country that just love helping people. That's it. And to know that, yes, I do earn a significant income from it. However, nothing makes me happier than seeing the smiles on their faces, for them to say, well, I'm able to take my family on a vacation because of this. And to know that, hey, well, I did encourage you to get started. I did hold your hand through the process. Yes, you did the work. Let's not take all the credit. Yes, they did the work, but at first they believed in me. So to see them do that, it's amazing. So for me now, personally, one of my goals was to not so I've worked in healthcare, right, as a personal support worker. And I remember after I got my back injury, it was really difficult for me to be working so many hours. One of the major things I said, I wanted to cut back significantly, and I've been able to do so since last year, right? So I can't even consider myself part-time anymore. It's a shame. It's a crying shame. Not even part-time anymore, because I have some relationships with individuals where I've decided to stay on with them for a while longer. But I'm super, super grateful that God has blessed me with this opportunity where I'm able to do so much more for my kids, so much more for my mom. I'm super grateful.
Awesome, awesome. Guys, you're hearing it firsthand from Petage, and her journey. And it can be your journey too, right? Because the whys change for everybody, right? And everybody's experience is different, right? Now, if you desire to learn more, get connected. All right. No, I want to just say thanks to everybody who is on. I see Sushana, Marcia, Melissa, and Abigail. Welcome, welcome, guys. So good to have you on. No, we always have the fence watchers, right?
Mhm.
And we can't end without just, asking, what's your advice? Welcome, Roxanne. What's your advice, to those who are on the fence, those skeptics who are waiting for, the perfect moment or what we call the right moment?
Mhm.
What's your advice to those persons?
Hmm. I'll say this. It's okay to be skeptical, right? It's embedded in our DNA at this point, I believe. But here's the thing. Go and do the research. Get the information, right? Do the research for yourself, and then you can make a well-informed decision. Okay?
Right.
And understand that there's never a perfect time to start. You just have to make the decision and just start. Just try something different. Because obviously, what you have been doing year after year is not working. You're getting the same results. So, in order to get a better results, do your research, do your due diligence, as I like to say, and then make a decision and just start. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And if I can say anything else to you is step out of your comfort zone. I know we've been already programmed and we have to unlearn some things. And I had to unlearn some things. And you have to face your fears, because the only way to overcome your fears, the only way to conquer them is to fear, is basically to
Overcome.
face them, right?
Mhm.
So face your fears head on. And when you get to that point, you're going to realize, but wait, when I waste all this time, there was nothing for me to be afraid of, right? At the end of the day, there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Okay? I remember fear is not of God. It's not. So take
True.
a closer look. Don't be like me that sat on the fence for a whole year. Yeah, kind of cheese about that one still. Just go ahead. And just know that you don't have to have it all figured out. I didn't.
Yeah.
If someone told me that, Peta, um in 3 years you would have been a successful business owner, not even, well, it happened way before 3 years, but if they say 3 years from now you're going to be a successful business owner, you're going to have XYZ amount of income, you're going to be traveling to places on your bucket list, right? One of my dream places was Hawaii, and I went.
Okay.
I love hiking, so I was able to hike to the peak of this mountain in Hawaii, which was phenomenal. And to say that this is now my life, it's humbling. It really,
Mm.
right? But it started with me stepping outside of myself, okay, and learning some things and being willing to learn. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Awesome. So true. I got to ask, what's next on that bucket list?
Oh my God. So my list has evolved.
Okay.
My list have evolved significantly. Um, so one of the things is that I'm going to be doing. So we'll be traveling with my mom. Okay, there's a few places that I want her to explore and experience. I told her, I said, Mommy, we will be flying first class. I've never flown first class in my life,
Wow.
so I said that is something that we're gonna do. But I have a couple countries on my bucket list that I want to really go to. Italy being one of them, and then I want to go to Greece. So maybe just a European tour of
All
Europe.
right.
Yeah. But just there's some other things that I'm gonna hold to my chest for right now, but
That's okay.
that's a couple.
Awesome. Well, you have said it before. Endless possibilities.
Hmm.
Endless possibilities. And so we definitely, wish you continued success, right, in your on your journey, and continue to be that mentor and that coach, right? And just watch everyone evolve, from the caterpillar to the butterfly, right?
Yeah.
And for those of you who are out there, right, having your own online business, it's not just a nice thing to have in this day and age. It is a lifeline. It
Hmm.
really, really is. And we're talking about the global reach, all right? It's no longer the brick and mortar, because even the brick and mortars, if they are not tapping into the global market, then that, things
Hmm.
are a lot harder for them. All right. So the flexibility, right? The impact and the ownership of your future, it
Hmm.
matters more than ever before. All right, guys. So until the next live, walk good. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.